got so much fucking design on right now. Bring it down, bring it down, make it clean. I got 3 whole thoughts on the block, bitches on the line, and you know.
Running the sled backwards and forwards. Like I said, this big pellet's about 100 horsepower, 90, 100 horsepower. It should pull the sled down the other end, no problem at all. Didn't even take it through. It's marked 0 to 100. They're not meters, it's actually percentage, so it's a percentage of a full pull, because we can actually change the gears on the sled to pull over longer or shorter distances. So if we've got it set on 75 metres, for example, one of the gears is a 75 metre pull, so what you've got marked on the side of the sled is just 0 to 100% of a full pull. So tomorrow, when we're actually running classes and recording results, we'll see which tractors go the furthest in each of the weight classes. Okay, this is a Chamberlain 9G, manufactured in Welshpool in Western Australia. Chamberlain were an Australian brand made from about 1978 to the 1980s, so it's got new more now. Manufactured tractors with Chamberlain John Deere for a little while, not sure how long, but eventually John Deere closed the factory and moved production overseas. So the 9G Chamberlain will be from the early 60s, maybe 63, 64, somewhere around there. And even the Axis production has gone into making war machines, obviously, tractors, trucks, tanks, all the stuff for waging World War II. At this time, after the war, there was a massive shortage of farm machinery, and a lot of companies stepped into making tractors to fulfil that need. Nuffield, the British Motors Corporation in the UK, designed a tractor. That's this one, the Nuffield M4, and they first were released onto the market in 1948. This particular, the M4 came out with a 4-cylinder side valve, 3.7 litre Morris commercial truck engine. They're about 37, somewhere around 35 to 40 horsepower. Petrol kerosene engine. Back in the late 40s, before diesel tractors really filled the market, before that most tractors ran on petrol or kerosene. They started on petrol and ran on kerosene. You had to start them on petrol because the kerosene wouldn't vaporise without being hot. So tractors were designed, you'll see this has got 2 fuel tanks. It's got the main tank and then a small tank a little bit further forward. The small tank's full of petrol and you use that to start the engine and get it hot. Once it's hot, you switch it over to kerosene and the hot manifold will vaporise the kerosene, and then you can run on kerosene. And farms use kerosene because kerosene was about the third that cost of petrol at the time. This tractor's only got water ballast in one tyre. We had a fracture in the roof and the tyre was only changed on Thursday and they had to finish to fill it with water. So you'll probably see that the one of them's digging in a bit deeper and doing better. That'll be the one full of water. The other tyre will probably be the one that ends up spinning first. But yeah. You'll notice these tractors have also got very big, heavy cast iron centres to the wheels. That's again about getting weight and ballast over the back wheels to give you traction. Series 2, I think. These were manufactured in the UK. Before World War II, in about 35, I think, Marshall Tractors got hold of a German Lance Bulldog single-cylinder semi-diesel. They had a look at that and they decided they were going to build something like it. Now they came up with this. This is actually not a semi-diesel, it's a full diesel, but it's a single cylinder. You see the flywheel on the side. The piston runs backwards and forwards to the front. It's a single cylinder. It's about a 7-inch bore, I think, and then something like an 11 or 12-inch stroke. And they're about 40 horsepower. You can see it's a big single cylinder. These tractors actually start with a starting cartridge. You see that lever on the front of the engine just on this side above the UK flag. You take that off, put a shotgun cartridge in there, it's probably still got no shot in it. Put the engine in the right position, put that with a hammer, up the fire the engine over and away you go. It's quite interesting to look at this car. There's this one here today and there's a dozer here too somewhere over the other side, I think. If you keep your eyes open, you might see someone start one today with the starting cartridge. Or maybe we could even organise a demonstration. I'll see. They were made in the UK, so the early ones come out in about 35, made through to the start of World War II. They're actually pretty rare, those early pre-World War II single-cylinder field marshals. After World War II, they came out with the Series 1, which looks a lot like this, but just a little bit different. Then they come out with the Series 2. A lot of Series 2s came to Australia. We see quite a few of them around. They're quite collectible and quite an interesting little tractor. And it's what they call a row crop tractor. And what that means is you've got the two front wheels in narrow at the front, and it's got the back wheels are adjustable on adjustable axles, so you can adjust the width. And the whole idea of that is that these tractors were designed to work in crops that grow in rows, hence the tractor's called a row crop tractor. The two front wheels run between two rows, and the rear wheels can be adjusted to straddle two rows. And then the implements are designed to cultivate between the rows. Looks like we maybe had two boxes on for there, I'm not sure what happened. Farmall H is only a little tractor. Should definitely have only had one box on the back. So maybe we had a little bit too much weight for the little tractor. I think he's going to pull him back to the start position. Yeah, he's just going to pull him back to the start position and let him have another go. Alright, we get piles of dirt at the back there, which means the little tractors are going to try and pull the sled over the pile of dirt, which makes life a bit difficult. Once he gets past that, he should be fine. Sort of Farmall H will be, again, late 1940s, early 1950s probably. I think they manufactured them through to about 1953 when they changed to another model, went to the number series, I think. Let's see how he goes this time. Piles of dirt are out of the way. Alright, he's off now. So the Farmall H, 4-cylinder, petrol kerosene, starts on petrol, runs on kerosene, 4-cylinder overhead valves, I think they're about 2.5 litres or thereabouts, not very big. James is one of the younger members, a junior member, and Calvin Wyatt walking along the side of him, making sure he's doing a few pointers, making sure he's going okay. See the as the weight box moves forward, we take weight from over the back wheels and we put it over the skid pan. Creates more friction, makes the sled harder to tow. And there we go, we stopped it. So the 4270 Perkins diesel engine. Quite a common tractor, they're popular nowadays for road runs and stuff because they're quite quick. We had a tractor manufactured in Australia up until about the 1980s. I think Chamberlain was the last one to go under after they were taken over by John Deere. Anthony Levica. Anthony lives down Melbourne, suburban Melbourne, keeps the tractor in his shed, brings it out on the trailer, comes down to the tractor pulls. This is a McCormick Deering W6. I think it's an American W6. International Harvest, they had a factory in Geelong. They opened that again just after World War II in about 1948. And in Australia we manufactured the W6, which was called an AW6, and we manufactured the Farmall M, which was the AM. This one I'm pretty sure is an American W6. I know Anthony doesn't have any water in the tyres because he transports this tractor on a trailer, and at the weight he is, if he puts water in the tyres, he'd be well over the weight on his tractor, on his trailer. So he suffers from a little bit of a limitation. He won't be able to pull as far as another W6 will go because he just doesn't have the weight in the back of the tractor. A very nice tractor, runs beautifully, and Anthony travels around to Gippsland to all the different tractor pull events. He was at Longsford last weekend. That was down at Trail. We had our annual tractor pull last weekend. He was there for that. He actually brought the tractor back and left it in my gate, my front yard. I live down here at Nyora. Saved him travelling back to Melbourne. He went and picked it up this morning, brought it back down here. So Anthony loves to take his vintage tractor out and have a bit of a play. So I think it's about I would think this is somewhere around 1950, or it may be a little bit earlier. It's an American W6, it's probably a little bit earlier, maybe late 40s, maybe 47, 48, somewhere there. Stop. Oh no, he's up and running, he's got it running again. He was going to forego his spot and let his granddaughter come through in front, but he's got it running. This again, late 40s, I think it's 1948, a Renault 3042, I think. Manufactured by Renault in France. It's got a little 4-cylinder side valve petrol kerosene engine. I'm not sure how big it is, I think it's probably around 2 litres or somewhere around that big. Yeah, 4-cylinder side valve petrol kerosene. There's not many of these tractors in Australia, you see a few of them, but they're certainly by no means common. Jim takes this one out quite regularly. Jim and his son Tim, keen vintage tractor collectors. I don't know how many they've got in the shed, but they've got quite a few. So we'll see how Jim goes. This little tractor pulls reasonably well. It'll have water in the tyres, but it's got quite light rims. They're just pressed steel rims. They're not cast centres or anything. The tractor itself's reasonably solid, reasonably heavy cast iron, but it's not a super heavy tractor, so it'll pull alright, but it's not super competitive in its class. Generally pulls in the under 20 horsepower class, I believe. Let's see how he goes. Nice simple design, just a little 4-cylinder engine mounted in a cast iron chassis at the front, driving through the gearbox. It'll have a gearbox and it'll have final drive, full gears probably, I think. It's actually got 3-point linkage, so it's probably quite a late one, probably even early 50s. In fact, I think it would probably most likely be early 50s. Let's ask you later. Yeah, a relatively modern little tractor, probably early 50s. So it's a Renault 3042, manufactured by Renault in France. You'll see the tractor will have to pull both boxes forward, so there'll be a lot more weight going over the skid pan. So we'll be able to stop the tractors more easily. Next up on the sled, we've got Maggie Brennan. Maggie's a junior member of the Sale Vintage Tractor Club, and she's driving a H model Lance Bulldog tractor. This is quite a late model tractor. Would be, I would think, 1960, Tim? 1957, there you go. Single cylinder, electric start, diesel, like the other Lance Bulldogs you'll see around. Just quite a small version, probably the equivalent of a Fergie 35 at the time. Lightweight tractor, 3-point linkage on the back, runs really well. Okay, so Maggie's 12 years old, so she's out there driving that tractor today. No automatic tractors, that's clutch, gearbox, all that sort of stuff, so great work, Maggie. I've just been told it's her favourite tractor as well, so that's good. You know your dad's got a lot of tractors when you're sitting on a favourite. Same sort of size as a little grey Fergie or something about that. Under 15 drawbar horsepower rated, but that's actually a pretty solid little tractor with a reasonable amount of weight, and it doesn't feel too bad, really. sled, we lift the front of the gear pan up with weight on those wheels at the back, and that allows the wheel tractors to get off the mark. This is the way we can manipulate the sled to cater from little tractors from like under 10, under 15 horsepower, right up to the bigger, the more modern tractors. We can manipulate things on the sled to make it be able to stop right up to quite large tractors. We can adjust drawbar height, we can adjust the way the skid pad is on the ground, various things like that to make sure it all works. Bullback Model N. Single cylinder, semi-diesel, hot bulb start. Runs on diesel, but it will pretty much run on any low-grade fuel. Diesel, even kerosene potentially, or oil mixed with kerosene, or all sorts of things. They used to run them on all sorts of stuff. And they were very favoured because they would run on cheap, low-grade fuel. They were very low maintenance, only a few moving parts, one piston, one pusher, one conrod, one crankshaft, just a single cylinder crankshaft. This tractor runs really nicely. Daniel's got it run really well. You see the way it shapes? That's that big single cylinder piston going backwards and forwards. And he's brought it down here again today. Now Colin's going to pull both weight boxes onto him, and he will pull it straight through to the other end without even slowing down. Unless he runs off the track, which he did at Longford last week. Sure, he's got to run a bit better than that. So once he's run it all the way down the other end, and we pull the sled back, we're going to bring it back into the middle of the track, and Colin's going to show you. He's going to give a demonstration of how the cartridge start works. Which it means it'll have a little 4-cylinder, a little V4 petrol engine that you start up, you run it for a little while, and the cooling from the little engine runs around the big engine and helps warm it up, and then the little pony motor is your starter motor. You engage a gear lever, it engages with the flywheel and cranks over the main engine. They were electric start too at this time, but I think this one's probably a pony motor start. I'll have a look on this side and see if I can see. electric start. At the time, electric start was still a bit new. It was just becoming more common. Big engines like this, it was hard to get a starter motor and batteries that were good enough. So it was still quite common to have the pony motor. But all of the advantages of this one's electric start. If you go down and look at a lot of the caterpillars, the big caterpillars moving dirt down the back there, you'll see a lot of those early caterpillars will have a pony motor on them that they use to start the big engine. So if you want to see a pony motor start, go in there, you'll see one on the big caterpillar. It's a very common way to start big diesel engines back around the late 40s, 50s, or 40s and 50s. There were a few other techniques for starting diesel engines as well, but the pony motor was quite a common one. F3M on the pullback, thanks Daniel. McDeering W30s were made from about 1932 to about 1938. I think the last one might have come off the production line in 1939. Big four-cylinder petrol-linked kerosene engine, about 200, I think they're about 280 cubic inches. Interesting fact, those